Here we go, guys. Day 4. We are on Unit 4, Day 4. I'm going to do a couple more substitution problems with you, and then you know what's coming tomorrow. We're doing some elimination. All right, so I'm just going to start with number 1. I'm going to bounce around, do a few examples, have you keep working on problems in class. If I start here with number 1, it tells us in the directions to do substitution. So what that means is, remember what happens if they're both equal to y? That means they are equal to each other. So what I can do is I can take all of this stuff that y equals and I can plug it in right here for this y. So I get, what we did in class is we put a giant space where the y was. And in that space goes what I circled, 5x plus 2. Okay, and the parentheses don't actually do anything here because usually I put parentheses because we're having to distribute something into the parentheses, but in this case there's nothing to distribute, so we can actually just get rid of those parentheses. And what I'm doing right now is I'm solving a equation. I'm going to combine my x's, so I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And when I do 5x minus 3x, I get 2x. I still have a plus 2 there. Keep your equal sign. And now the only thing I have on the right-hand side is a positive 10. Okay, now I'm going to subtract 2 over. I'm trying to get the x by itself. So I'm moving things around. So I've got 2x on this side. Keep your equal sign. 10 minus 2 is 8. And I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So x equals 4. And remember, the way that we write our answer for these, I'm going to do it in really big blue numbers. This answer is 4 comma something. Remember, I'm only halfway done right now. So I'm going to keep the blue. And I'm going to take this 4, and which equation looks easier to you, this one or this one? It doesn't matter. They both kind of look easy. I guess I'll just use the top one. I'm going to take this 4, and I'm going to plug it in for x right there. So I'm going to get y equals 5. I'm plugging in 4 for x plus 2. So y equals 5 times 4 is 20. So I get y equals 22. Remember, once you have the x and the y, you're finished. So 4 comma 22 is my answer for that one. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of work for these. Let's do a couple more just so that you can make sure you get some good practice before I have you do some on your own. Let's go down to number 7. So I see y equals, I'm going to plug all that stuff in for y right there. So I'm going to recopy this top equation. I'm going to write it down here so I have more space, but I'm recopying this top equation and I'm going to put a giant space where this is. So I'm going to write negative 12x plus giant space equals negative 2. So that is this equation, but instead of y, I'm going to put all of this stuff into this space. I'll use a different color so it sticks out. It is 8x plus 2. Remember, that's what y was. Y is right here, but it's telling me that y equals this stuff. So all this stuff is going in for a giant space right here. So that's why I wrote it right there. Let's see, I don't have to distribute anything here because this is just a positive 1. So I don't need my parentheses. I'm just going to erase those to save some room. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine like terms. So I'm just trying to solve this thing for x, right? But I have a negative 12x and I have a positive 8x. I can combine those. Negative 12 plus 8 makes negative 4x. And then I still have this plus 2. So I'm going to keep that. Keep my equal sign. And I still have negative 2 over here. So now I just need to solve for x. I'm going to subtract the 2. So negative 4x on this side. And negative 2 minus 2, be careful, that's not 0. It's negative 4. Now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. And I get x equals 1. And remember, that is half my answer. So let's figure out what the other half is. So I'm actually going to take this 1, and which equation looks easier to you, the top one or the bottom one? This one looks a little bit simpler, so I'm going to take this 1 and I'm going to plug it in for x right there. How do you know whether to plug it in for the y or the x? Well, you have x right here, right? X equals 1, so that means it's going in for x. I'm going to do it in blue. I'm going to take this 1 and I'm going to plug it in right there. So I'll get y equals 8 times 1 plus 2. So y equals 8 times 1 is 8. So I get 10. So I'm going to put 10 right here. Done. Okay, I'm going to do maybe 2 more. Let's go to number 9. I see x all by itself. So all of this stuff is going to go right there. So I'm going to write 2. I'm going to write this equation down here so I have some more room, but I'm going to put a giant space where that x is so that all of this stuff can get plugged in right there. So big giant space plus 2y equals 3. So it's this equation right here, but instead of the x, I'm putting a giant space here, and all of this is going to go in here. So I'm going to do 4y minus 1. Now I'm going to distribute my 2. That's why I always use parentheses here, is because sometimes there's a number in front that needs to be distributed. So when I do 2 times 4y, I get 8y. I'm going to keep the minus sign, and when I do 2 times 1, I get 2. And I still have plus 2y, and I still have 3. Okay, so now I'm solving this equation again, and I have some like terms. This one and this one can be combined, so 8y and 2 more y makes 10y. And I still have this minus 2, so don't lose that, equals, and I have 3 on the other side still. So now I'm going to add 2 to both sides so that I can get my y all by itself. I'm going to divide by 10, divide by 10. Be careful, 5 divided by 10 is not 2. This is actually 1/2. Be careful when you do that. And yeah, that's okay, it's a fraction. I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal, but remember that that is my y value for my answer. So my answer is something, comma, 1/2. Remember, the x always goes first and the y always goes second. So technically, since I solved for y first, that part of the answer goes right here. Which equation looks easier to work with for you, this one or this one? This one looks a little more simple to me, so I'm going to take the y and I'm going to plug it in right here. So I'll show you how that works. This 1/2 is going right there. I have arrows all over the place, but I'm going to do x equals 4 times 1/2. That's not too bad. I can do that in my calculator. Do you know what half of 4 is? Oh, it's 2. So I end up with x equals 1. And that is what's going to go in for the x value for my answer. 1, comma 1/2. Let me get one more done, and then I'll have you guys work on your own, okay? Number 11, I see y all by itself, so all of this is going to go in right here. So I'm going to take this and plug it right there. So I'm going to rewrite this equation, but I'm going to put a giant space where that y is so that all this stuff can fit. So I'm going to write negative 2x plus giant space equals 18. And inside that space is where it is going to go x minus 4. Okay. Let's see. I don't need these parentheses here because there's nothing to be distributed into this parentheses, so I'm just going to erase that. I have to combine my like terms. I have a negative 2x and a positive 1x. That makes negative x, or negative 1x. You can write the 1 if you want to, or you don't have to. Okay, I need to solve for x, so I'm going to add the 4 over. So I end up with negative x equals 22. That means positive x equals negative 22. You can divide both sides by negative 1. This negative sign can just come over here. So negative 22 is my x value. Let me write that. And remember, the x always goes first. So that's going to be the x value answer. I'm going to take this negative 22, and I'm going to plug this in to this equation looks a little bit simpler to me. It's an x value, so I'm plugging it in there. So I'm going to get y equals negative 22 minus 4. That means y equals negative 26. Check that with your calculator. So kind of a weird answer with some big numbers, but that's our answer, negative 22, comma, negative 26. Hey, thanks for watching, you guys. Try a couple more, and then I'll be around to answer questions. Love you all.